Welcome back. Almost 2 years after COVID-19 officially landed in Canada, Omicron now threatens to push us into the unknown as it spreads faster than any version of the disease we've seen yet.
So we've been putting your questions to the doctors about what Omicron means for you and your family and how to navigate the uncertain days ahead. And the questions just keep coming.
Indeed. So we are going to get you some answers with infectious diseases specialist Dr. Sumon Chakrabarti. Thank you for being here. Let's start with the first question.
Hi, my name's Ramsey, and my question is, as a fully vaccinated individual, do I still need to isolate like I did in 2020 with this new Omicron variant? Or can I still go out for drinks with my vaccinated friends? Thanks.
What do you think?
Look, we're 2 years into this. We have almost approaching 90% of eligible people vaccinated on the ground. This has now become a personal risk assessment. We know the things that we can do to make things safer. And I think also we know that our best defense is vaccination. So if you haven't gotten vaccinated yet, I urge you to do so. But after that, it's what you're comfortable with and what the party you're with is comfortable with. I think it's past time us telling what people should be doing in their own homes.
But can you quantify the protective effect of being vaccinated against Omicron versus, say, being not vaccinated at all?
Yeah, when we look at some early data coming out of South Africa, it looks a little bit dismal. It looks, the number was for Pfizer, if you have 2 doses, is like 35%. But we have to remember to distinguish between infection and severe disease. Infection can just be having a runny nose and sore throat. But severe disease is what is important to me. And it says it's about 70% protective. The other thing to remember is when you have a population where there's been lots of exposure and the unvaccinated people also have quite a bit of immunity, this calculation gets tricky to do. So I actually think it's probably quite a bit higher than that. The point is if you have 2 doses of vaccine, you're quite protected against severe disease. And if you're eligible for a 3rd dose, especially if you're over the age of 60, I urge you to get that, especially with that and immune compromised conditions.
All right, let's go to another question. This one is from George Brown.
My question is, as Omicron takes over, what happened to Alpha and Delta? Did they go away, or are they still as prevalent as they once were?
Okay, it's a pretty good question. Where are those other variants?
So with Alpha, it's kind of gone. What happens is these viruses have competitive advantages against each other, and they can essentially crowd out the other one unto extinction. Right now, we don't know what's going to happen with Delta. It looks like in most places, Omicron will completely displace it, but there is a possibility that the two can kind of compete with each other and become co-circulators. So time will tell. I suspect, my guess is that Omicron will completely displace it, but Delta is a pretty big beast as well. So we'll see. It's going to be a good battle, but time will tell us what the final answer will be.
So just so I'm clear, does that mean that the original COVID virus that we all saw almost 2 years ago is now gone?
Possibly. I suspect it's probably there in certain very small regions. It probably can be found. But as a worldwide type of virus that was circulating broadly, yes, in that sense, it's gone.
We've got one more question for you, Dr. Chakrabarti. Let's listen to it.
Hi, I'm Miranda Jimmy, calling from the heart of Treaty 6, Amiskwachi, Wiskahikan. My question for you is if booster shots or 3rd doses are considered so important in the fight against COVID variants, will the definition of fully vaccinated be changing from the current 2 doses to 3 doses?
2 doses just not enough?
This is, I think, an answer we're going to have once we look back on this and have more data. I do think that certainly for individuals who are over the age of 60 and have significant immune compromising conditions, fully vaccinated would mean that you need the 3 doses. And for less age than that, 2 doses are probably protective. I think the sticky part of this is when you get mandates. And I think that we have to remember that this is not a one-size-fits-all type of vaccine because somebody who's 80 has a much different risk than somebody who is, for example, 20. So we have to keep all these nuances in mind and be careful. But it is definitely certain that getting vaccinated is still the best thing that we can do against this virus. And this is one of the reasons why we're in the position now where we have a population that's approaching 90% and has significant protection against severe disease.
Because even at this point, do we know how much immunity is dropping off, even for someone who has 2 doses?
Yeah, right now it looks like the protection against infection, meaning getting exposed to the virus and having some symptoms, has dropped off and generally drops off between 3 and 6 months. But data that's accruing right now is still showing that the protection against severe disease, meaning sick enough to get hospitalized, is still pretty well maintained if you're under the age of about 60. So I think overall it's a very effective vaccine to protect against severe outcomes. And I suspect that's going to be a long-term type thing. But again, time will tell.
Dr. Chakrabarti, thank you so much for your time.
Great to be here. Take care.